Welcome back. We've had to do this over again. We had Michael with us, but I believe he's had to go, so um, it's me, Jack, and Nathaniel. And
Hi.
Nathaniel is Canadian Team Insider, which we talked about. We'll be reviewing the Arizona Coyotes today. So top stories. Minnesota Wild were in contact with Matt Cullen for a while, and he made the decision to sign a one-year contract with the Minnesota Wild. Cullen previously played for the Wild and was born in Virginia, Minnesota. Cullen has won 3 Stanley Cups in the past 2 years with Pittsburgh and 2006 in Carolina. So, do you two got anything to say about this one?
No,
really.
Not really.
So, I'll talk about this in transactions. On this day in NHL history, the New York Islanders hired former Islanders player Don Maloney as their new general manager in 1992. Maloney played with the Islanders for 3 seasons before retiring in 1991. He served as general manager for a total of 4 seasons. Exactly on this date last year, he was hired as a professional scout for the Calgary Flames. So yeah, this is like his 1-year anniversary with the Flames. No scores. We'll be going over scores in 1 month. And transactions. Edmonton, Leon Draisaitl, contract extended to an 8-year contract. I honestly think it's a little too much money. It can make maybe do $7 million, but
$8 million's a little too much for this guy. I think
I'm gonna have to stop you there. I think it's good, to be honest with you. I said it before our stream got messed up. Draisaitl and McDavid are taking an overall percentage. Actually, I didn't say this. I'm adding this because I just remembered it. Taking an overall percentage less of a cap hit than Crosby and Malkin were when they got signed to their contracts. They're getting more money, but the cap hit is actually 4% less. So the Oilers are technically getting a bit of a bargain of a deal to get 2 pillar players, just like the Penguins did. And they're gonna build the team around Draisaitl and McDavid. So I think it's a good call to have these two locked up for another 8 years because they're gonna be a deadly threat coming up in the next 5 years.
Yeah, the Oilers are definitely kind of entering that area where it's like it's getting to the point where they're starting to become contenders again. So really they want to start focusing on like getting their players to build with, and this might be the signing that they're going with Draisaitl.
So like I said, maybe 7.5 would do for me, but I just think it's a little high. But I mean, they are extending the salary cap by $2 million. But anyway, on Minnesota with Matt Cullen, he was signed to a 1-year contract. Back returning home, I can expect him on the 4th line playing center and right wing for the season. And Colorado has Dominic Toninato. He was signed to a 2-year entry-level contract. Toronto was not the fit. We'll talk more about that at the end of the stream. No injury report. I have one tomorrow. The schedule. And the main discussion for today is about the Arizona Coyotes and what their 2017-18 season is going to look like. Okay, so they in 2016-17 they finished 28th in the NHL, and their offseason began April 9th, 2017, and they got a new captain, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So let's go to the additions this team has made. They've got some real good players, and they've lost some pretty good players. So they got Andrew Campbell Adam Clendenning, Nick Cousins, Cam Dynamite, Tiny, my bad, Emerson Eaton, Joe Hanley, Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Brendan Hickey, Mario Kempe, Michael Latta, Shannon Schultz, Eric Madsen, Hunter Miska, Antti Ranta, Zach Ronaldo, Mike Sislo, and Derek Sapone. So 2-year subtractions, we have Brandon Berlin, Alex Bernshaw, Craig Cunningham, lost his slave, has a new role for the Coyotes though. Lauren Dawkins, Anthony D'Angelo, Grayson Downing, Shane Doan, Peter Holland, Chad Johnson, Josh Joris, Jamie McBain, Stevanik McCallum, Jeremy Moore, Mitch Moros, Chris Mueller, Connor Murphy, Mark Oliver, Chris Pronger, Timmy Polkinen, lost in the expansion draft, Garrett Ross, Mike Smith, Jared Tenorti, Brennan Trupp, Brandon Cabrera, Brennan Bourne, and Joe Whitney. So let's get to these projected lines. Going from forward to defense to goaltenders. Line 1, starting with offense, you got Max Domi, Derek Safon, and Anthony DeClaire. Clayton Keller, Dylan Strom, Tobias Ryder, Brennan Perlini, Christian Dvorak, and Jamie McGinn, and Austin Krause, Nick Cousins, and Jordan Turtle. And to your defense, Oliver Ekman Larson and Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Alex Goligoski and Jacob Chicherin, and Kevin Conneration, and Luke Shen. And for their goaltenders, they'll have Antti Ranta and Louis Domingue. So let's discuss some, and I'll ask some questions, and we'll go from Jack to Nathaniel and to myself. What was the best addition to this team, Jack?
I really think the best addition to the team has to sort of be a tie between Antti Ranta and what was his name? Nicholas Harmelson, I think it was. But yeah, I think that was a really good addition for this team. Because these are players that they want to try to like build around, and they have a lot of skill that they can build with. I'm a little bit distracted again, my bad. But yeah, these are players that they're confident with, and I think that that confidence can be really important on the long run because if these players do indeed live up to their expectations on this team, they can probably start doing some damage in a few years now.
All right, for me, I'm not really. Sorry, I totally just had a brain stall. I'm not really impressed or unimpressed with anything that Arizona did this offseason so far. They got rid of some key players. They added a couple key players like Derek Stefan, but they're not really going in either direction. They're not going to get worse. I mean, it's hard to look worse when they play alongside the Colorado Avalanche, but they're not getting any better, which is what they need to be doing. They're not getting any better. They're just offloading assets, and right now they don't even know if they have a stable goalie. I'm not saying Mike Smith was the best goalie. He's definitely not the best starter in the league by no means. He's going to do great in Calgary because Calgary just needs somebody. But the thing that Arizona needed was somebody that they know they could put in the net 40, 50, even 60 games. Antti Ranta has never played a full season. So nobody really knows what he can do once he starts maybe getting a bit fatigued after playing quite a few games. So he could definitely have the potential to be a better player than Mike Smith, but they don't know yet. So that's going to be a bit of a struggle, I think, for Arizona, feeling him out throughout the start of the season.
Yeah, to add to that, at the same time, like their current backup goalie, which is Louis Domingue, he's not really that much of a reliable goalie. Like I personally have not really been impressed by his play lately, and there's just, as you said, there's just no stability at all. So they're gonna have to figure out how to fit him into their system as quick as possible before he gets too fatigued. Otherwise, it could become a very big problem for them.
Okay, and mine was Derek Stefan. Having him on the first line center with Max Domi and Anthony DeClaire is going to be great. Max Domi and Anthony Declared will be having more production thanks to the new first line center, which you got him in the trade with the New York Rangers. And you set Anthony DeAngelo over there, which is gonna be a really good player for that Rangers team now. And he probably fits there better, and he'll develop faster. But anyway, let's get to the subtractions part. When was the worst loss for this team?
Um, Probably the worst. Definitely not the most significant loss. Um, once again I have two players to go with. The first one is Shane Doan. I think Shane Doan has been despite his production numbers kind of going down in recent years. I know age was getting to him. Um, Shane Doan is not exact. Was not a or he was exactly sorry. He was a key piece of the puzzle still. So I think he's a guy that the Coyotes are used to really. So I don't know how good it was for them to lose him. The other guy I'm kind of going with is Mike Smith was probably a bad loss for them too because as Nate was saying, they're used to him by now. So like it really can go either way for those guys for the Coyotes now with losing both guys like Shane Doan and Mike Smith. It really removes a lot of security for them.
All right. I'm just gonna have to restate my my previous comments. It's Mike Smith is probably going to be the biggest hurt, at least, or biggest hole in the roster. Not generally the best player that they lost, but it's going to be the biggest hole in the roster for Arizona this upcoming season.
And I think the biggest loss had to be Shane Doan. He was the former captain before the Arizona general manager announced he will not be re-signed, and that captaincy went to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It's not going to be. It's going to be a little tough without Shane Doan, that leadership, But now you're going to be led by a younger guy, which can be pretty good actually, because younger guys. You got all those guys together.
I mean, I don't mean to be blunt, but I don't think Ekman Larson's given up on his career yet, so
Yeah.
it's going to be good to have motivation on the team.
I'm ready to see him play next year for sure.
Exactly, and I think he was a great choice. I think I kind of saw it coming, but I think it was a great choice for them to pick him as captain.
Yeah, for sure. But losing Shane Doan and that leadership, but I think Oliver Ekman-Larsson has learned from him, and he's just gonna try to be like him. But obviously, he's a defenseman and all that. But they were both first line. I mean, Ekman Larson's first line, and Shane Doan was first line. So, and let's talk about these lines, about strong points and weak areas. What is the strong points on this Coyotes team for this year, and what are the weak areas?
Well, I think one of the stronger points in this team would be like the offensive talent. They have a lot of offensive talent that they with like guys like Ekman-Larsson and other guys that have had some good production numbers in recent years, but at the same time, it also brings me to the weak point for them. It's that they need to have consistency. They need to have serious offensive consistency. Otherwise, it could be very bad for them in the coming years because the NHL is only getting better and better, and really they have to know when to start stepping it up, or it could be problems for them soon.
I'm going to have to agree with you basically on both points there for the offense. Yeah, the offense, they have talent, they have potential. It's there. They just need to fit the pieces together, but they're from previous seasons from what they do have, they aren't showing consistency. They can play really good for 1 week and then play absolutely horrible for 3 weeks after that. And you can't be only playing great or even just good for 1 week out of a month for an entire season. That's not how you're going to even get close to the postseason. And another problem for them is, like I said earlier, there's no insurance in net right now. They're not exactly sure how that's going to play out, and that's going to be difficult for the team to work around.
Hey, I want to talk about some strong points. First off, I honestly like the offense, especially the top nine. But I mean, but there is a little issue there, and I look at the second and third line. I feel like they all have, um, they're they're good. They're becoming really good players. They're young. They're all around the same age, but I think they all. I mean, there's obviously different playing styles, but I think they're just gonna be battling and there's just gonna be too many combinations to figure out for at least this year that it's just gonna be a little confusing for these young guys. And then their fourth line, it's it's all right. It can be worse for sure. But and then their top two defensemen, that's gonna be really cool to see what they can do. And maybe that's how these goaltenders are gonna get better on that Coyotes team with their top two defensemen. But then we go to the rest of the defensive lines. You would have thought Al Goligoski would have been a good addition. It really didn't seem like he was at all. It seems like he just turned into a worse player, even. So I think there still needs to be some fix on the defense. So maybe in a trade, get a top four defenseman and what else? Get a top four defenseman and always probably gonna want to draft one as well or get one in free agency. So that's what I think of the lines, and let's go to let's go to the main question, Jack. Will this team be making the playoffs?
No. I think that they are definitely building to start shaping up consistency, but I think it's too soon for them to be in the playoffs picture right now. I think they need a few more years of development among their younger players. I think they may have the potential in a few years, but as for this season right now, no, they are not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you for the most part, except for the fact that I don't even see them making it in a few years down the line. To be honest with you, they aren't ready. To be honest, it's a squad that's definitely still, unfortunately, in the uh, early stages of a rebuild, and it's gonna be a long rebuild. I'm a Leafs fan. I know the agonizing pain, so I'm sorry for you Coyotes fans, but you have a while before you're even gonna be contenders again.
Yeah, it could be a long while. It could be a few years. It could be a long while. You never know.
And this won't change my decision, but I mean they could have a great start to the season, and then what they did 2 years ago just start fading because of injury. I just, but I do not see them making the playoffs. I mean they can have a good start, but they're just gonna fall out and just they're gonna miss it. But they're gonna be. I would say they would be a competitive team. There's a lot of good teams in the NHL, if you really think about it. And this Arizona team, they're gonna be they're gonna be good, but obviously not good enough to be a playoff team. But it should be exciting to see this team. I just want to talk about what teams they'll be chasing down. We're gonna have that big rivalry with Vegas.
I think
And
the NHL is honestly trying to build a rivalry between Vegas and Arizona. Like they've been doing everything they could to make sure Arizona stayed where they were. I think they were going to relocate a few years back, like they were about to do it, and then the NHL said no. So I really think the NHL is hoping to maybe build some more popularity there by having some sort of a rivalry between Vegas and Arizona,
yeah, and
which would be interesting to watch. I think.
yeah, which home opener, August 10th. Or I said August 10th, didn't I?
That'd be nice if it was August 10th.
August 10th of 2018. But yeah, it's October 10th. I mean, I guess the good thing is we are 30 days away from having some games finally. But anyway, about this Arizona team, they're gonna start approaching some teams. Like the Kings would be one. I think
How
they're gonna try to get around them first, but
I don't think that's gonna work out for them.
I know.
However, unfortunately, I do think one of the teams that they have to approach, and they're the newest team in the league, they have to try and approach the Vegas Knights still, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Like, the Vegas Knights are probably going to finish, they're going to have games that matter in March. And I'm
Yeah,
willing
for
to
sure.
place my money on that. The Vegas Knights are not going to be a straight flop. They're probably going to be better than teams like Arizona and definitely Colorado.
Yeah,
Yeah, Colorado. Maybe a few other teams. Like they're new, so you can't really judge that right that quickly. But there are some things that can happen. Like they could be getting wins. So
Well, they do have a solid goaltender, which
they
is one of
do.
the most
Yes,
important things in the NHL.
Marc-Andre Fleury. That was just a huge addition for them.
Well, we all knew Pittsburgh wasn't going to keep both of them.
Yeah, and there's controversy there. Like I'm hearing that the goalie coach was fired because he convinced Fleury to let go. Pittsburgh's GM really does not like like Matt Murray, which I don't understand why. Matt Murray's a solid goalie. He's just not
Matt Murray is now better than
enough.
Fleury. I'm not saying Fleury's bad, but Matt Murray is now definitely a better go-to than.
Yeah, I think
So,
well, okay. But I think that's all we're gonna talk about this team. So no playoffs for them. Yeah, there we go. And questions and predictions. Back to just some other stuff. And I want to ask everyone. I know none of us really know about this player too well, but I'm already hearing some stuff. So here is the question: should we expect Dominic Tonito to be in the starting lineup for the Colorado Avalanche in 2017-18?
Um, I don't know with Colorado. It can really go either way for that franchise. Like I mean, and I'm not saying they could like they're gonna get like really good right away, but I think that it just depends on how their season goes before you can make a decision. Because he's a new pickup, and like
Yeah.
I wouldn't really ever expect any new guys that are just signed out of like college or something like that to actually be like good and key players to the team like instantly. But Colorado, there could be a time when they might get desperate. So I think it's really just a matter of waiting and seeing how the season goes for Colorado before we can make a decision on that.
to be honest, if I'm Colorado, I'd try anything right now. Put in a new guy, see how he does. Sometimes it just takes getting a chance. That's usually what most goalies do. I know not a goalie, but let's just look at some past goalies. Like lots of Montreal backup starters have gotten great careers from filling in for Carey Price hurting himself. So, like, maybe just give the kid a chance. Colorado doesn't really have anything to lose at this point, so I'd say just give him a shot. I'd
I,
definitely see him playing in the NHL a couple
I
games this season.
I can speak on that from experience as a Kings fan and seeing Peter Budaj. Like he is now being regarded as one of the best backups in the league after the season he just had filling in for Quick. True, they didn't miss the playoffs, but they came close, or they didn't make the playoffs, but they came somewhat close, and they wouldn't have done it if Peter Budaj didn't step up. So
Yeah. So, believe it or not, I believe Colorado signed him because they want him to play. So I think we're gonna see him play. I think he can become a good player. I mean, just look at what Mikko Rantanen did this year, and he
I
did
wasn't
really
saying,
good.
yeah. I
But
just want to clarify. I was not saying that he won't play at all this year.
yeah,
I'm just saying we have to
yeah.
wait and see how it goes.
At the very least, he'll definitely be a consistent starter in the AHL. Definitely.
I mean,
Yep.
I think that, but I think they want to have him on this team, fourth or third line, develop. and then see where he is at 2 years, but then other teams are going to be after him, and I feel like he may not want to stay with Colorado, but I think Colorado is a good place for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you are young and you're not really quite found your footing yet, playing on not so great teams such as Colorado guarantees you an opportunity, basically, and it guarantees you a chance to show how good you can play.
For sure, because they're going to get a lot of starting, because the team is basically, after finishing dead last, they're going to try anything at this point, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are exactly right. So, anything else anyone wants to add?
I believe we had,
All Penguins fans are bandwagoners.
There we go.
yeah,
There we go.
and I believe we had,
Let's give it.
I don't know.
Hold up. Let's give a round of applause for that one.
And one more thing, I believe, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this today, but I'm going to say it anyway. I believe we had a rumor that Matt Duchene has appeared in trade talks recently, so we'll have to see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
His
That's
entire
fun.
career is around trade talks.
We have this, and then the potential of a college player being signed, so
All
I
right.
think Colorado might be up to something here.
All right. So that's gonna do it for the stream today. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Um, it sucks we've been doing this for an hour because I had an issue.
Because you're
We all
special.
agree. There you go. So thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the Boston Bruins. It's probably gonna be a later starting time since I'll be on a different computer and I'll have to do some have to set up and I can get a template back going, which it will look exactly like this. So don't worry about it. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for reviewing the Boston Bruins.